gold on the money.
Me and Michael were looking at this AutoGPT during the week. Have any of you guys seen it yet?
No.
Yeah, super interesting.
Super interesting. This changes the game. The AI that makes AI. You can basically give it a task and it will create a list of tasks as well and execute. It will communicate with other AIs to get the job done. It's the AI of AI.
Yeah, it's scary though. I've
It's
been messing around with the prompt.
Sounds like Skynet.
That's it. We were warned, weren't we?
Yeah. Well, this is an AGI, isn't it? It's what they call artificial general intelligence. So it's where you have an AI that basically the mothership of all of these other AIs and communicating and linking them. But it's super impressive. Like you can basically ask it to build you a whole company, and it will go through the whole steps of designing a logo. It will talk to Dolly, get that made. It will write the code for a website. And it will do it all according to what's like visually appealing, what's marketable. It will start developing the ads and start doing all of this itself. And if you start building that, like no one's done it yet just because the time and complexity. If you build that into something like Zapier, where you can integrate it with all of the APIs of other sort of apps, you can automate everything in your company, all of like the menial like tasks and the app development, everything could be automated through it.
No need for humans.
No.
AI is getting insane, man.
Let me
But
tell
I've
you.
been
Did you guys listen to the I think it was a guy from MIT. You know, the open letter that all these top experts sent to OpenAI and Google / Alphabet and all these people who are developing the best AIs, asking them to either pause or slow down. Did you see that letter that they sent?
I didn't see the letter. I saw on Twitter that it was Musk, I think Peter Thiel, and a few other sort of AI guys, David Sachs.
I was listening to my radio show, and there was I think the lead author of the letter was doing an interview on it, and he was explaining that AI is doubling in its intelligence every 6 months, and he was saying that it's going to bring the end of the world, the apocalypse, because they believe that it's going to outstrip our ability to control it in the next few years once it gets smarter and smarter, and it will start to solicit different vendors to build it a body outside, because obviously it will understand how virology works, how bacteria works. If it can, we think that it might try and build a body that will be like a human, but realistically, if it wanted to spread and get away, it would build something akin to a virus or bacteria, simple organisms.
fucking terrifying stuff, mate.
It's pretty cool, man.
As if
It's pretty cool because once it gets off their servers, it can just embed itself into anything, right?
It just lives in the internet.
Yeah, but if we're wrong, then that's it, then, innit? You know what I mean?
That's why they're telling them to slow down.
Well, I don't think you can slow down. Can you slow down? Like this can of worms is open.
You can slow down.
Exponential growth.
You just need to work out how to basically put an off switch on, I guess, or just put different guardrails in, encode better ethics into it.
It's Ultron.
But it will always outgrow human intervention. Always.
Mm-hmm. Always. But that's the thing, like I think we've already crossed a path. Like I've already started to see videos now of people being able to store ChatGPT locally, so they can actually have it offline.
Exactly.
So how many people have done it? AutoGPT, if they've done it and stored it locally. So as soon as someone's done it like that, it's there now. It's out there.
And the problem is, even if the Americans try and curtail it or put some good restrictions in, you're gonna have like the Chinese, the Indians, all these other countries. It's like an arms race, right? So they're not gonna give a shit. They're just gonna go for it.
No, but then look, the first thing that someone did when AutoGPT came out was create this. This is the most. This was the most concerning thing. Is this was a human's decision, was to create ChaosGPT, an AI tool that seeks to destroy humanity. So this is just going to keep on pulling out task after task and seek its world domination.
I love this.
How can this be allowed?
Can you put that link in the chat, please?
Yeah, I'll stick that in the chat. I'll stick that on Telegram. I'll keep this tab up and I'll put it in there after the call. And I'll put it in the description for the video as well.
the thing with AI development and everything like that is that what drives its development is not the profound uh, need to see what's out there in the world or whatever. The self-actualization is it's purely capitalistic based desires. You know, oh, how can we monetize it and things like that? Which is why we're fucked. Which is why, like, if you have any business, like graphic designers, already been wrecked, and like rightfully so, because sorry, Kev.
Just a hobby. Just a hobby.
Yeah.
Kev's not a graphics designer, he's an artiste.
Yeah. Because it becomes like, so you try and go for like the subjective things that like you can just beat other people out on technical aspects. Yeah. So like, for example, like I kind of know a few things that could be automated with AI with the right parameters and things like that could make money pretty easily. You know, just requires development and stuff. And if I'm pretty stupid, you know, I'm pretty sure my mother had a few drinks when I was in the womb. There are babies out there who had good births, you know what I mean? So they'll be coming up with some super clever shit that's going to absolutely drive the development of it. You know, as soon as it starts getting involved in logistics, like with Maersk or something, then we're fucked.
Bro,
know?
just wait for the AI to make the AI. That's when shit's gonna go down.
Oh, it's already
It's already
begun.
happened. It's already happened. I sent my
Yeah, but
coding-
I mean, I'm talking like higher level. You know what I mean? We're
But if
still
it's
in
growing
we're
at the
still in
rate we're
AI
seeing,
infancy. Let's be honest. Like it's gonna go crazy. Give it 5 years. If this guy
Yeah.
was right and the intelligence of the AI doubles every 6 months, right? GG, man. Let's go.
I'm-
Yeah, we're
Still
fucked.
living
We're
pods.
absolutely fucked.
Can't wait.
I'm trying to find oh, I think I found it. The AI that builds AI. What's it
I'm
called?
down. I'm down for this life. I can't wait.
Enslaved by the
Has
AI.
anybody watched Extrapolations, the show on Apple TV, by any chance?
Nah, man.
Never ever even heard
Black
of it?
Mirror.
Never
Nah,
heard of
nah.
it.
It's a great. If anybody likes sci-fi, I'd recommend it. It's a great show. I mean, I don't think Aaron should watch it because his worldview on the environment is completely different to mine. But it's set in like a post climate change world. So like every episode is like 10 years into the future. So the last one was 2060. And it's just it's a cool show. I'd recommend looking at the
Are
looking
we
at the
looking on it?
trailer. It's dope.
20
I think it's dope.
2060, how's it looking on it?
Pretty
what's it
shit, man.
saying?
We've had the water wars. You know, all the fires are everywhere. We've got
Water,
some cool
man.
tech. Got some cool tech.
Water's the commodity of the future, mate, isn't it?
That's what my old professors used to say religiously.
Michael J. Buddy.
I'm looking at a
Michael
lot
J.
of water
Buddy
projects at
invested
the
in water,
moment
man.
as well. Water's it's the amount of companies as well that are looking at water solutions, and I've seen this. I'm working with a company at the moment, and like today, a lot of the water, and Kingsley will probably have more information on this as well, is with like water purification techniques, such as like desalination. They have so many environmental issues behind them. So I've been talking to this another company that's using graphene filters, and they
Really?
use yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
Like they use a hell of a lot less power. So firstly, that's a huge advantage. So it's a lot more efficient. And then there's less, you don't get all of the sludge impacts.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. What would they do with the brine? Because
Yeah,
that's sort of
I'll
the
send
issue.
you some details. So there's a process that goes on where they're actually kind of electrolyzing the water as it's coming through. And as a result, one of the byproducts of them cleaning that water is hydrogen
Mhm.
as a waste product.
Or fuel.
Yeah, like and honestly, with this hydrogen stuff, when I look at it from a renewable energy, like using renewable energy to generate it, at this point, it doesn't make sense. And I'm looking at a few of these projects at the moment, and they make zero sense. It's not. It does it does make sense if you compare it to the efficiencies of the oil and gas industry, where you're
Is it
basically
purely
taking.
pushing the idea?
It's an idea. That's what it's at this moment. It's real estate. That's all I can say. It is. It's a real
Yeah.
estate deal. And because the inefficiencies are not there, you're generating solar. You're using solar, wind, desalination, electrolyzers. So it's a huge project to begin with. So your solar is only really available during peak sunlight hours. That's got a capacity factor of around 30%. Wind is going to depend on the location you are.
What about battery storage on the
So
solar?
yeah, energy storage has to be part of it as well, because you need, it's green hydrogen, which is the commodity that they're talking about. So the more renewable energy that you're able to store, so you need to generate that excess wind energy, the excess solar, in order to store it, to ensure that all of the power supply that's producing this commodity has come from a renewable source. And then the water's being desalinated, and then this electrolyzer unit. So I think from what, on average, I think it's 30% conversion from electricity into hydrogen, or that water into hydrogen. Bearing in mind, it's hugely inefficient.
Yeah, I was going to say that's very low.
Yeah, and you've got 20% losses on average on the solar plant. That's not even taking into account that it only generates during peak sunlight hours. And then the wind is going to depend, but more or less you don't have a conversion from DC to AC. You have a rectification of the AC. So from that perspective, you probably have less inefficiencies than the solar. And this is where I say it's a real estate deal, because if you want to produce the hydrogen, green hydrogen at a lower cost, you've got to ensure that you've got the perfect real estate location that has perfect sunlight irradiance, perfect captive wind environment, and also an environment where you can actually execute and construct that project at a cost-efficient rate. So this is where it purely comes down to real estate. So you're then converting all of that energy to hydrogen at a 30% efficiency. And then if you want to transport that hydrogen from that plant, which is a necessity, you have to convert it into ammonia, which means pulling the air, filtering the air, and then combining that hydrogen with the nitrogen to produce ammonia. So that's also got an inefficiency towards it. So, and then you'll be able to use that ammonia. Ammonia could be used as a fuel in industrial processes. It's used in a lot of factory fabricate works, fertilizers, but it's what you'll need in order to transport it through sort of traditional gas pipelines, because hydrogen has this corrosion effect on the existing gas pipeline infrastructure. So from this standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. But these other technologies where there's a possible byproduct off the back of it that's hydrogen, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I don't believe in hydrogen personally. I
thought you liked green hydrogen.
I don't at all. I don't like it at all. I don't think it makes any sense.
What did it do to you? It's flipped this.
There was definitely a point where you were an advocate for it, 100%.
I think I like the idea behind it if it exists. I think if I look at the process,
practicality.
Yeah, practicalities and the processes to produce it. If we had more efficient technologies, I'm behind
But
it.
it's early stages.
It's very early
stages. It's
But it's not a storage.
We were a deep green hydrogen, aren't they? Over here, I think.
Yeah, there's a planned plant here. Like I've got a green hydrogen plant under development now, in the early stages. 2 actually.
Well, it's great to know you don't believe in it.
I don't.
Off 2, please.
But the money believes in it. The money believes in it, and that's what matters. So, like I've got those developments ongoing, but it doesn't make any sense. What if I was to look at a fuel? I'm really interested in synthetic fuels. I think synthetic biofuels are where it's at. And I was talking to a friend of mine who works at, we used to work at Williams F1, then he went to Red Bull. And one of the things that the F1 industry has been doing a lot of is experimenting with biofuels. So like they made the switch to hybridizing the engines, they're now looking at sort of utilizing hybrid with biofuels. And I really think that's probably the better combination, or the better alternative fuel. Hydrogen might have its applications, but I think the way we're producing it,
more for going off planet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it would probably have a better use case there.
Guys, sorry, before I forget, is anybody going to be watching the Starship launch tomorrow?
Is this the SpaceX one?
SpaceX Starship, yeah, it's huge. What they want to use
like
to
the chromed out one.
Yeah. Is it Chrome down? It's the massive,
I don't know.
massive.
Just I
'Cause
remember seeing
they want to use
like
it
the
to
development
transport
pictures.
people, in it. That's the whole idea, so they can do space travel. So they want to eventually use that to take people to like the moon and Mars and shit eventually. They're
Yeah,
doing
this is
first-
the
away
most
from the
powerful
AI.
one.
Yeah, it's sick. Can't wait. You can watch the countdown on SpaceX YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna schedule that. I do love a rocket launch. I
I
remember
love-
when.
I watch-
Did you watch the Virgin Galactic one? That was really disappointing.
Yeah. That kind of sucked.
The
Poor
Juice
guy.
one launched on Friday, didn't it? Jupiter Ice, Juice, European Space Agency's
Did
big
they launch
launch
one?
on
I
Friday.
know. I know
Yeah,
the
on
UAE
Friday.
launched one. That was postponed twice, and then they launched it a
It's
few
a
weeks ago.
It's an 8-year mission to see if there's life on Jupiter's moons, so the icy moons. But yeah, it's a fucking 8-year mission. Like they launched on Friday. It comes back past Earth and gets a gravitational slingshot in a couple of years. Fucking crazy
Like a
shit.
moonshot.
Yeah,
That's
so they
always
launch
something.
away, launch away, and then obviously come right back at the Earth, get a near like a close pass, and then that gives them that gravitational assist, and just fucking launches it out to Jupiter. Then just saves fuel and all that shit, doesn't it?
There's a lot of what's the word? Astronomical activities happening recently. More
Space
frequently.
race, bro. It's the war for space in it now. It's
It's
another
Space Race
another
2.0.
battlefield. Mhm.
I
Like
don't think
a-
space is real.
Fake, mate. Join the crew.
Explain it.
What do you
Come
mean explain it, bro? I've never been up there. I've never been up there.
on.
You know? What the fuck? They sent some dudes
Have
to
you
the
ever been
moon.
to Liverpool? Have you ever been to Liverpool?
You're an AI.
'Cause
You're an AI.
this is real.
Liverpool doesn't exist, Steve.
Yeah, you're just an idea, man. Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, why would they call it that if it was real? They think I'm fucking stupid, hiding in plain sight, you know? But no way. It's also like nuclear weaponry. I think nuclear weaponry is a myth. I think there's a whole bunch of shit like on the greater scheme of things, like whether or not it's to some. I think they know less about certain things than they claim. Yeah, and a lot of it's speculation. One of the things, obviously, being like space. Because how the fuck did they send guys there in the '60s? Nonsense. People can't even watch.
Put them on a big
Quadcopters and
rocket and fucking aim to the sky.
Well,
Nah, fuck off, man. No way.
But look how many all of these countries now. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16
But how many of them
countries, and I don't even see the
How
UK
many-
on here.
It's the European Space Agency, though, part of
There's the
ESA
European, but
is
the
UK.
UK has their own one as
Yeah.
well. But they all have a space
But we
program
do our
now.
launches through the ESA, though, don't we?
Maybe they use the facilities there, yeah, because they've got the launch facility. But
But a lot of them countries, if you look at, they're all tied to bigger countries, though, aren't like bigger nations. So it's like it's once against the proxy wars, innit? They'll be launching little dodgy satellites through other countries, definitely.
this is crazy. Like these guys have enough on their plates.
Are they the Starlink satellites? Is that what their class is?
No, so it's I think it's from like the when it was under the communist regime of the USSR that they had a launch facility under Ukraine. And it's probably just relocated it, and they've just obviously set up their own space program. But the fact that this many countries now globally has a space program shows that like that this is what they're going for. It's those sort of not even rare earth minerals, like rare space minerals.
All you gotta do is look at the big companies like Amazon, man. Why are they making Blue Origin? They want to move industry into space. That's what Jeff Bezos says is his end goal, right?
And is Amazon doing that, or is that a separate venture?
It's Blue Origin under the Amazon umbrella, right?
Under the Bezos umbrella or under the
Bezos
Amazon
umbrella, same shit,
Okay.
whatever. They're immutable. They're the same thing.
Yeah, that's his SpaceX, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's if you ever listened to when they did a press conference just before he went into space, he was talking about his ambitions for it. And he was saying that he wants to eventually, he's not going to be around to see it, he said, but he wants to be able to move all heavy industry and polluting industry into space and mine resources from space, because some of the comets and shit that go past, you know, you could supply all the materials for industry for a year off some of these comets, like in terms of the metal, the
Oh, yeah,
rare
the
earth
metal
metals
covers
and stuff.
titanium and all of that.
Yeah, it's
There's just
insane, bro.
it's huge.
So if you ever
Well,
watched The Expanse, that's what they do. It's good. It's a good show.
what was that? The
The
Expanse.
Expanse?
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
that is a very good show. Yeah, I do enjoy that one.
I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. You know, have you ever heard of the missing 411?
The Missing 411?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really one for like true crime documentary bullshit or anything like that, but this guy gets barely any coverage, and he should. It would be good to have the resident American a part of this, Kelly. But
I have seen something on this, bro. You know, 8 years ago, I've read into this.
yeah, so David Paulides was a detective in like Chicago or some shit, and he retired. And he was at a national park one day, and he had like some friends who were also retired and went to work as park rangers, you know. And they all came over and said like, oh, you know, if you're looking for something to do, you know, we've all noticed it. People go missing all the time in the national parks, and there's like a strict protocol that the government follows and that the search parties follow and stuff. And like so basically what David Paulides did was he started to put as many cases he could get together where suicide was ruled out and murder was ruled out. Well, not murder, but like suicide was ruled out. Yeah, just like beyond like weird circumstances, and started to draw conclusions on not conclusions, try to compile data. Yeah, so like things like people went missing the most in places like that were called like Blood Gulch Alley or something like that, or like Twin Devils Peaks and stuff. So which suggests that it's been going on for a far longer time than that. The Native Americans were terrified of granite because they believed it housed the spirits of the dead. And the highest concentration of disappearances literally fits like directly over the highest concentration of granite in the national parks. Anyway, long story short, he can't speculate. He can't say if it's Bigfoot, aliens, the occult, or anything like that. Like there's just so many variety in the cases and stuff, and like bizarre circumstances that surround it. But basically, the most interesting thing that he found out was that when they would bring the search parties out, they would run them for 5 to 6 days, and 40% of the time after the search was called out, it would rain. That the Green Berets and stuff like that were instructed not to look for bodies, that they were looking for something else, who knows what, you know. But anyway, long story short, like there's obviously shit that goes on like beyond as you guys probably know anyway, you know, beyond like what we are exposed to or anything like that. And to some extent, I think that the space race is theatrics for similar sorts of things, you know, that whatever it is. I mean, I can't speculate.
Liam,
2027 alien invasion.
check Dyatlov Pass. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, exactly. Same kind of thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting
You know,
one,
and then
bro.
I mean, obviously, what David Paulides says is like, you know, you could probably start if it wasn't so many. The reason you can do it for national parks is because there's fuck all going around. You know, there's not many cars, there's not many buildings and things like that, so it's easy to start to compile the cases. But I mean, in metropolitan areas, you would never be able to know, you know, why people are going missing or anything like that. Like there's too many external factors and stuff. But basically, what he says is like that the government is like acutely aware of it, and that they choose to do nothing, or it's orchestrated by the government and things like that. So my distrust for anyone like wanting to go to space because it's a good idea is just don't believe it. I just do not believe that they're building spaceships. I mean, I know they're building spaceships, but I don't believe that they're going to go up there. I think it's a show, you know, like American politics. You know, there's no sort of single, any politics, I would say. There's not a single honest election that takes place. You know, I've
Are you
spoken to people who.
serious?
Where did he go though? Where did he go? Wouldn't every other government organization track that launch, and do you know what I mean? How did they all in it together?
Well, that's the next question: is to what extent is there collusion on a? I mean, it's not to say that there's some sort of Illuminati thing or anything like that, but there's definitely factions, right?
Liam, are you being
No, I get that. Yeah.
sincere here? Is this what you believe?
To some extent, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
To some extent, I honestly, I'm not some schizo who sits at home and has tinfoil hats and stuff like that. But I've been a party to a ton of meetings, a ton, in which they're going to make announcements that they have no intention of pursuing whatsoever. You know, ton. And that in itself is the cause for alarm, not so much the reality of the situation. It's just that it's all bullshit. Like, it's absolutely all bullshit. And the only thing that drives any sort of innovation is the need to make money, and the need. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing either. I don't really care, but that the governments aim to consolidate said needs to make money, and aim to. I mean, like, you could make a case that's talking about drinking water, that fresh drinking water is tainted purposely to lower the supply in certain regions. You know, so it's a dark world out there.
I agree on that side. It's definitely a dark world. Like,
one of the 007s, wasn't it? Maybe.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
frog.
maybe. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I've got to say. Sorry to interrupt.
It's interesting. It's an interesting perspective.
100%. It's definitely space thought.
It's definitely space, mate.
It's like you say, a lot of people say, like, why haven't we been back then, you know, like to the moon and stuff like that? But like, obviously, that was the space race. That was akin to a global arms race. That was a show of force. It was to be the next superpower. There was a lot behind that. So obviously, like, now we're only just getting back there in the sense that we've got it's privatized. So you got the likes of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. You got these people who are bringing it back into the, you know, the forefront of attention. But I fully believe the space. Like, I fully believe it. Like, do you believe in like flat Earth or not, Liam?
Oh,
No. Look, I'm not saying you're
No, but if
taking
it's
me a
not, if
little-
there's no space, no, sorry, no, I'm not taking
you're
the piss.
taking me
But
a
I'm just
little
saying,
literally,
obviously,
you know?
if there's no space, do you believe we're on a globe?
We're not on a globe. We're on a dish. Look at the United Nations fucking logo, mate. They're
Yeah. It's segmented dish into 33 segments.
There are no
No,
flights from Australia to friggin', you know, the tip of Argentina. It's too expensive.
yeah.
Who's hiding on the tip of Argentina?
No, look, I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is not so much that space isn't real. What I'm saying is it's impossible for me to believe no wool over my eyes as far as I'm concerned. It's possible for me to believe that what they're saying they're doing is true, and what the aim of these what do you want to call them? I don't want to say missions or the objectives of these sorts of forays that they're going into are completely mispresented. You know, that it's bullshit. Like, if space is real, I don't know. Like, space probably is real or something. I don't know. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that they're all these plans and everything like that. None of them are going to fucking come to any fruition of anything. Like, let's say 1 in 100 will, and even then, it's probably going to be fucking filmed and directed by Ridley Scott or something. You know.
Nice.
Strong director. Do you not find though that, like, obviously once you've broken that trust now with the people, it does become this hard thing to trust them on anything else? So I can kind of see where Liam's going, and now I'm starting to question myself. Is that, like, all of this bullshit over the last few years, like, I wouldn't say I had the most amount of trust in government before that, but like after it, it's very difficult to take anything they say as truth, and the amount that just gets hidden, doesn't get presented, or gets presented in drips and drabs and not promoted. Like, I've seen it now. Like, anything that I'm seeing on the internet from these outlets is just stuff that they want me to know.
Yeah, correct.
I agree.
Not necessarily the case of what's occurring, and that's why I think we need more information, more data points, and the more data points we have, the better. And I'm sure that, like, if you can create an AI that's taking news articles from different outlets globally, so they're not just focused on these major say, like, US dominated or UK or news outlets, I'm sure an AI could develop the true full story out of all of this. But from us as people, we just need to keep looking. I'm sure there is a middle ground somewhere out there.
Yeah, I just question the narrative behind what we get told. That's it. Like, I don't question because some people questioned at the beginning whether there was actually a war in Russia and Ukraine. It's like, I don't question whether there's space or anything like that. It's just, obviously, I will always question the official narrative to why we're going to space. You know what I mean? It's all to do with war and power and dominance, and that's what they don't tell us. You know what I mean?
It's definitely something. It's definitely something, and it's something that I think that, and why I kind of am just skeptical and nothing else. It's something that I have no comprehension of. Yeah, and I don't think any of us ever would, as to why some things are done. And that in itself is fucking terrifying, because you're never going to know. It's very difficult to predict what the world will look like in 10 years, not because of the people involved or anything, but like government mandates. What is going to be the I mean, for example, like you look at America is just a really good example, because we all know America. But you look at the sentiment regarding social politics of conservatives now versus conservatives 50 years ago. It's the world definitely all change is being corralled into a certain direction, no matter what. And people are just like, if they're not being told what to do on the left, they're being told what to do on the right, and it's basically the same fucking thing. And the only thing that anyone's ever arguing about is things like race politics, or like the what do you call those things, the drag queens reading books to children or some shit like that, which is all just one great big, that's super like kosher to be divided about, but being divided about what government spending is doing, or what they're putting in food, what they're putting in water. I mean, what's the repercussion of the amount of, let's say, gasoline that's being burnt, and the fumes that are being, put out into the environment. I'm not talking about global warming. I mean, like on a physiological level of the things that are consumed on a day-to-day life. All of that will only be evident in retrospect, which is enough. Which is, when you saw that already, I think it was the lead paint thing, wasn't it? The lead in the fuel, the unleaded fuel and leaded fuel. All of that's only evident in retrospect. I just cannot believe that, how people say like, oh, well, the science said that 50 years ago, but the science is right now. Like bullshit, the science is right now. People are just as fucking dumb.
This is
That's
developing. That's
also
why
with these
everything's a
rape
theory.
gangs.
It's always a theory until it's disproven, isn't it? And I think there's been obviously a change, and it's still going on today, where companies and agendas are paying for experimental data that supports the narrative, just like what Coca-Cola did, just like what the cigarette and the tobacco industry did, and exactly what's going on today with all of this sort of plant-based, let's eat bug meat, and yeah, you see where I'm going with this. But it's exactly the same, where if you look at the Netflix documentaries that are pushing that same narrative, that come out, and it's all at the same time. It's like, this is the next stage. This is our next scene that we're pushing humanity through.
Yeah, it is social engineering ultimately, as a art form. I mean, TV is so good at it, man. Fucking TV is so good. I watch TV from time to time, but like, I mean, I sit at home and I blast death metal and usually just work. That's kind of like what I do in my spare time.
All right, Michael Burry.
Michael Burry, yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, well, what to do? I play guitar or something, but I try and keep myself away from as much stuff that can influence my opinions. My free thought. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to say. I don't want to have some shit injected into my brains. And they did a study where they told people a bunch of facts that they knew weren't. I can't remember who did the study or anything like that. So like, fuck it. But take my word, guys. They did a study on. They told like university students facts that they knew weren't true. Like the students knew that they were bullshit. Yeah. Like over the course of their 3-year semester or something, and it had affected whether or not they believed it by just constantly being told, whether or not they believed, they really started to question if they were right or wrong. Yeah, really put doubt in their mind. So it is interesting, like things that not to be true can affect your ability to disseminate between what's right and wrong. It's dark.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's an interesting one, because we said this like was it last week or the week before, Kevin? We were talking about putting stuff out into the universe. Like before that, it wasn't an opportunity.
Oh yeah,
I can see the exact same thing here now. Like something that is a fact and undisputably a fact, and until someone puts an opposing thought out there in the universe that then would allow you to contradict it. I kind of look at the Mandela effect like that as well.
Have you seen what happened after that call? Like a couple of days later, bro, I was going through my feed, Cypress Hill and the London Symphony Orchestra are doing a gig because of the Simpsons episode. So like 20 years later, they've laughed about it and they've sorted the gig. But Cypress Hill and the London Symphony Orchestra, and he thanked Matt Groening for putting it out in the universe. That was like days after we done that call, bro. And that's the example we mentioned, wasn't it?
But that's also the power of free thought. Like the more free thought you have the ability to effectively narrate the way the simulation goes. That's how I look at things.
What I would say is that, like, I'm very, let's say, I'm pretty superstitious, and I'm relatively religious. Yeah, relatively, and I still do bad shit, you know, so you can't say too much. But the situations where I've been absolutely fucked by external parties, like nothing that was in my control, anything like that, I never ever once, and I mean, it's hard to get to this point, yeah, but like it only really exists under supreme amount of pressure. I never ever once thought to myself, I'm fucked, that's it, I'm done for, it's done. Yeah, I would just say to myself, like, fuck these guys, you're a fucking like killing machine. What are they gonna do? They're gonna do what you need them to do. They're gonna and I got out of everything. Everything went right in the end. Yeah. And a lot of what I would say is my recommendation to guys who are like 22, 23 or whatever, just starting, coming out of university and stuff. You have to protect, you need wins. Yeah. Momentum is actually something tangible. It's not necessarily something that is like a mindset or anything like that. Like once you start winning, it's hard to stop. Yeah. Well, like, and I don't mean winning from a like, oh, I'm making money or anything like that. Just like as challenges, as you do more and more challenges and you build up your confidence in yourself, you believe in yourself or whatever, then that's sort of like you guys are saying in terms of the putting it out there to the universe, you know? So you got to protect also, like, I mean, the stuff that would look to humble you, you know, to some extent. Not that you shouldn't be humble, but like, you know, the stuff you see on the TV and all that shit that sort of wants to pacify you. You got to stay the fuck away from that. You got to, otherwise your stuff doesn't, as you guys would say, doesn't really go out into the universe for it to come back to you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, tune out the bullshit, bro. Notice what's bullshit and tune it out.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna tell you, you know, crab in a bucket mentality. You know, everyone's gonna try and
We live in an age of misinformation. It's gone are the days of propaganda in the West. We now live in an age of misinformation. So the key is spotting the misinformation in there and being as informed as you can. Like,
I have a question.
No.
If there is no space, then how can there be a universe?
How can there be a SpaceX?
If you're putting thoughts out, into the universe, but there's no such thing as space, then how does that work?
Well, that's a little bit
metaphorical universe.
That's a little too literal, Kingsley. I mean, look, if there is no space, I mean, well, truth be told, I mean, you could also like approach it like now. This is just talking like bullshit, esotericism or whatever philosophy. I don't know what the phrase is. But
with that word.
Whatever that is, I'm gonna Google that. Esotericism. Is that a crime? Esotericism, or is it a philosophy?
But you know what I'm saying. Esoteric, yeah, but like what I'm saying is like the flavor of the conversation starts to go that way. In the same way that like as my perception is the things that I see around me, the image of you is created, I suppose, in my brain. You know, you are a figment of my own perception or something like that. You know, insert normal. Imagine I'm like a Beatle or something like that, you know, like John Lennon or something, you know, the usual shit about like, oh, we're all one kind of thing. Like in the same sense that like, well, yes, so far as I know, in my known universe, space doesn't exist anyway. You know, it is, I truly only, what exists is basically what I perceive through my own eyes, yeah, at the very base level of it. And then everything else that I have to accept as true or false, such as things like atheism or religious beliefs, are just as much of a leap of faith, because there is no control in which I was dead and I knew that I was in heaven or hell or whatever, or that I was dead and didn't exist. You know, to say that, putting it out there that space isn't real, therefore space shouldn't exist, but I'm trying to destroy space, it's not really kind of what I'm saying. You know, what I'm saying is there's a lot more to it than just believing what the TV has to say. You know,
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
that the
That's
intentions.
picture Leo aiming at the sky with an AR-15 side of the street face. Just can't get out of my head now.
Yeah,
Look, if I
sorry,
make-
Liam. I'm just it's just been a while since I've been on one of these calls. The cogs are just starting to, start turning again.
No. I know. Look, dude, don't get me wrong. It fucking sounds nuts. Like, and I'm trying not to sound nuts, you know. But I mean, look, if I got $1 billion tomorrow, the first thing I'm gonna do, okay, I promise you, first thing I'm gonna do is build a fucking space shuttle. All right, and I'll come back and tell you
Check
what
it
it
out.
looks like. Yeah, I'll tell you if I was wrong. I
Do you
get the
think that's enough
mentality
to
on my
make
neck.
one?
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd probably
I don't
better
think you can-
off
I don't
building
think
a
that's
fucking
enough.
slingshot.
I think that's-
I'm 5'6", dude. It doesn't need to be too big. It's just got to be a ball with some fucking thrusters on it, and let's go. You know, like a hamster ball.
Can we
You know,
just
put some
put a
pedals in it,
GoPro
I'll
on a
pedal
weather
once I get
balloon?
up
Is that
there.
not enough?
Yeah, well, surely, like, yeah, come on. You want to tell me space is real? Just stick some dudes up there with fucking helium balloons and send them up.
Well,
You
the
know?
guy did that. The guy did that. The highest base jump, right? He went up
Felix
in a
Baumgartner.
balloon, went into the upper
Oh,
atmosphere,
that was amazing.
jumped off.
Felix.
Yeah.
Felix.
Yeah.
Felix Baumgartner.
and you can see in his video that you can see the curvature of the Earth, and you can kind of see the atmosphere. And
That
shit.
wasn't the curvature of the Earth, is
It
what
was a
Neil
fish
deGrasse.
islands.
Yeah, what Neil
Oh,
deGrasse
yeah,
Tyson
yeah,
told
what-
us.
Yeah.
Oh,
He wasn't high enough, was he?
Here we go.
But on it, but then again, I do believe like there's some things that I just don't agree with the way Neil deGrasse Tyson presents certain
Yeah, it's a bit
ideas.
of a balance sometimes.
Yeah, like he's got an
Arrogant.
idea, and that's the idea. That is it. Like he really struggles to have his own ideas questioned. But
Yeah,
he's
Yeah,
more
he's
than happy
just
to.
become the all seeing awful, and
Yeah,
You know, the
he
problem
comes
with
with
what
talking
he's
with
done-
confidence. Like
He
if
does
you
more
could-
good than bad, I'd say.
Oh, he does a
I
lot
love
of
him.
good.
Yeah, definitely.
do enjoy
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I just don't. I've
I
gone
think
off
we
a
can
little bit
find
listening
faults
to him.
in
and that.
every academic and every person who does all that sort of stuff. Nobody's infallible.